It's going to be all about, well, the coronavirus we'll have to go on to first, as, well, it's took over the week. And then we're going to have a review of the season and have a massive player ratings throughout the show. And then we're going to end with a lone watch of all the players that have been away since the season decided to cut off. But I'll go to the floor. Rob, I'll come to you first, man. How's your week been?
It's been very, very busy. Very busy indeed. And of course, with all of the coronavirus stuff going around, it's a reminder that there are really important things out there that we need to talk about, which is what we'll be doing later tonight.
Indeed. Well, we've got a whole show where we're talking. It wouldn't be much of a radio show if we didn't talk, Rob. So, Paul, I'll come to you, mate. How's your week been?
Well, it's very unlike me to have a weekend off, but because of the football situation, that is what I've had. A quite quiet weekend, to be fair. But I am starting to climb the walls already.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's hope that this doesn't go on too much longer.
And Lee, I'll end with you, mate. How was your weekend been, lad?
I've been at work all weekend, so although I've missed obviously Newcastle playing, I've been busy, so it hasn't been too bad, but I've got 3 days off now, so it's like, what do I do now?
I mean, with this virus, mate, you might end up with a bit longer than just a couple of days off, but we'll see how the week develops. But in part one, it's not something I want to go on about because obviously the coronavirus has invaded the news, it's invaded radio, it's invaded everywhere you look, it's invaded everything. So I don't want to go on about it for too long on the show because I want to get into the football side of things because after all, we're a Newcastle-based show, Newcastle United-based, so it is something that I'd like to keep in the loop. So part one is going to be about the coronavirus, how it's affecting sport, how it's affecting livelihood, how it's affecting everything really. If you've been living under a rock and you don't know what the coronavirus is, please go on Google. I'm not going to go through everything over a long period, but it's going to be a long half an hour where we'll dissect the coronavirus and then we'll get into the epicenter of the show, which is what counts. But this has been global now for a couple of weeks and started off in China. It was quite small in England and in the UK for the past week or so, where there was 1 or 2 cases here or there, but it started to grow and to a point where it's cancelled sporting events, to a point where it's pretty much cancelled people going to work, it's cancelled kids going to school, it's cancelled way of life, causing absolute havoc as it goes on. So much so that the Prime Minister has did a press conference on Thursday or Friday in regards to what England were going to do regarding the situation. And as you can see on screen now, or if you're listening on Nova Radio, it as follows. We're considering the question of major public events such as sporting fixtures and the scientific advice. As we've said over the last couple of weeks, is that banning such events will have a little effect on the spread, but there's also the issue of the burden that such events can place on public services. First of all, Rob, if you caught the press conference on Thursday, what did you actually think of it?
To be honest, I thought Johnson was incredibly vague at a time when this week it's really kicked off. It's been all go pretty much. It's been in the news. It's always been something new every single minute throughout this week. So I was really wanting something to be a bit more specific. So like you say, it's a way of life that people's livelihoods have been disrupted hugely by this. So it only lasted about 5-10 minutes, and wanted something a bit more specific, a bit more.
Well, what would you like to be seen done? Because basically, if you missed the press conference, but a basic summary was: wash your hands. More people have got to get cases first before we take action. And if you've got any symptoms, stay in the house and isolate, not insulate, as TalkSport said a couple of days ago. But I want to show how much this affected me, because as a uni student at the University of Sunderland, I have to get loads of public transport. I have to get a ferry to South Shields, and then a metro to Pilo, and then another metro to St Peters to get to where I go. And in rush hour, if I start at 9 a.m, I'll probably come into contact with a lot of people, let's say. So it's in terms of a uni front, I know Northumbria and Durham have stopped classes until there's something with the coronavirus. Sunderland have yet to do that, but I'm hoping in the next couple of days to do it, because it is going to be hard to get the union back without contracting a virus of some sort or even symptoms. So I hope that they do that. Lee, you say you've been in a full-time job and you've got 3 days off, but what's it been like for you? Like on a work level, the past couple of days, have you been scared? Have you been worried about picking up such things? How's your company handled such as the coronavirus?
Probably the same as what everyone else is. So any symptoms, go home for 7 days, whether it's a cough, whether you're feeling unwell or shortness of breath.
Yeah.
I think that's any workplace, whether you're a small company, a large company. Don't just look after yourself, look after others as well. So anybody with even a slight hint of symptoms, Sky are obviously sending everybody home, and that's what I would think every major public company or even smaller companies are doing. But I am a little bit anxious. I'm walking past people thinking, don't breathe on us. I'm thinking, I
wouldn't want anybody breathing on you anyway, Lee. I don't go into town hoping people breathe on us.
No, but you get the general, right? I mean, you walk around the city centre now, there's a lot of people wearing masks just outside of this building. There's people worried, concerned, anxious. Mental health, obviously, that still kick in. That'll drive them mad. And yeah, it is worrying, and people think it's people who aren't taking it seriously really have to now.
You do as well. And it's not just the large companies as well. I mean, I run my own business, and if obviously myself or my wife was to get that and you've got to self-isolate for 7 days,
What happens to your company?
That's a huge thing. And obviously, if
I'm
I'm not out at work,
what happens
if
to your
she's not
kids?
at work, exactly, and you've got to provide and support. So you do become more conscious of things around you, touching things, going to certain places, situations, and it's a big worry. And like you say, you touched upon mental health before, but that is a big thing. I mean, certainly self-employed people, you're constantly worrying week by week, day by day. Cash flow. Can we get this sorted? Can we get supplies of different stock in and all that sort of thing? So it's huge. It affects everybody's life, from big to small, from all walks of lives. It's a massive thing, and I agree with what Rob said. The leadership, and I think the Watford manager touched on it as well. I mean, I know all this. He looks like a carried out of Ben and Holly and all this sort of thing, but he did not inspire me one little bit. Everybody else taking decisive action all over the world, and he's sitting there singing a song about washing your hands, which it's something that you might do at nursery. Joke, no, but I used to do this at nursery school, and I'd be sitting there with a load of kids trying to get them to wash their hands and take personal hygiene a bit more importantly, and he's doing it whilst he's addressing the nation, and I just thought, you look more ridiculous than normal.
It's causing people to panic. You see people who are
didn't help,
watching,
did he?
like there's toilet rolls.
It doesn't fill you with confidence, does it?
And there's toilet rolls getting. People are going over the top with toilet rolls. There's now beans are now just your basic rations. Are now supermarkets have finally came out and said you're going to be limited to 2 per item.
But that should have been, to me, that should have been done ages ago. As part of what Boris Johnson said, it should have been, look, we expect it to be some sort of panic buying situation. So what we're going to do to be proactive is put these limits in place beforehand, not when all the shelves are shut. And now, I mean, I know people who've got babies and stuff who haven't got baby milk, and you're sitting there and you're going, well, I'll see what I can do, and I'll see what I can sort for you. They haven't got the essentials and stuff like that, and it's just chaotic, isn't it? And it could have been avoided, but
the problem that we've got is this is nowhere near our peak yet.
No.
It's going to get a lot worse.
It's going to get worse, unfortunately. Even coming into the radio show is a bit of a risk for me, having to get public transport and things like that. Comment if you think Paul or Lee, who have cars of their own, should drop this man home, because I feel it is a public risk if I end up on public transport. So
me as well.
Rob as well needs to get a train and has to risk his life to get home. So lads, if you want to do a favour, or Dad, if you're watching, ask the wife to give us a lift home. But it's a public service to help your son get home. So
to be honest, I'm risking my life walking through Darlington at that time of night.
I mean, you're risking your life going through Darlington anyway at night time. So
no, we've already had this discussion, Kyle, about places.
Well, I mean, there's a comment saying, who's more clueless, Big Bruce or Big Boris? That's a question for later. I mean,
I'd probably trust our manager.
Yeah, at the end of the day, Steve Bruce hasn't appeared on Ben and Holly's Little Kingdom, but Boris Johnson has. So I think that says it all, really.
Yeah, for sure. But it's not just affected us in the UK. It's affected Spain. Your mother-in-law was just out of Spain, didn't she?
I mean, it was crazy. She was due back yesterday, early hours of Sunday. Well, yeah. Saturday morning, and she's only just got back. They were waiting at the airport for an eternity, no communication from anybody. Literally one aeroplane going to and from various UK airports, and that is how it was. And you had to wait your turn. Sorting car parking out for people at Manchester Airport when you're all the way up here, taking care of practicalities. But she's had an absolute nightmare getting back. She had a week in Tenerife actually, and then obviously everything got locked up because the Spanish.
It's locked down tomorrow.
Yeah.
So
there was literally nothing.
She did.
Yeah.
Because she could have been stuck there a while. I mean, there's worse places you could be stuck, but when you run out of money and things like that, it could be quite an experience.
I think she was saying the worst part is, I think all the pubs, all the clubs, all the cafes, restaurants, everywhere was literally shut down. So it was like an absolute ghost town.
She's got the weather though.
She did have the weather, but even in the airport, there was no like shops open, nothing open inside of it. Just a skeleton staff there, mainly police, just to sort of crowd control and just to shepherd people in. But it's shocking, and I mean that's been going on for quite a while. I've got other relations who've just come back also from not too far away. I know people who've got holidays booked to go to Euro Disney. That's been cancelled.
Yeah.
With little kids, they've looked forward to it for ages. So a massive knock-on effect. It's been hideous.
Well, the worst thing is, Paul, it's not the hardest place to hit. You look at some of the images on screen now, really distressing from China and Italy, respectively, of how hard this has actually hit. Thankfully, in China, I think the province of Wuhan, I don't know what it's called, but they have peaked in terms of the amount of cases of coronavirus in their vicinity. So that's now going down.
I think they've shut the centre that they opened temporarily to deal with this. They've actually been able to stage that down. It's gone down, I think it was 14 was the latest daily figure. So it's coming down, thankfully, and hopefully that gives us a bit of light at the end of the tunnel. I think we could all do with that.
Yeah, and it's affected Italy majorly as well. The whole of the Juventus team's been in isolation, haven't they? In quarantine, because Rugani, their centre-back, has picked up the coronavirus. And not just that, either in England, when I move on to sport and talk about how the Premier League dealt with the matter, it's affected many people like Mikel Arteta, Callum Hudson-Odoi. It's affecting everybody, whether you're a major footballer or just a average Joe like me or you. But it's hitting hard. And for me, well, actually, I will go on to sport now, and. I don't usually give Steve Bruce much credit, but I think what he said in his press conference before the matches were called off regarding this is it's quite heartwarming, to be fair, and what his priorities are. Lee is going to play the clip on the magical stream of what he said in his press conference beforehand.
There's no clip.
There is no clip,
there isn't it?
I thought there was a clip, so sorry about that. Basically, what he said was, he didn't want games played behind closed doors, and if they were going to do anything, it would be to postpone the league entirely. And what the case is, the Premier League have ended up doing that. But the games were scheduled to go ahead, and then unfortunately it came out through an Arsenal statement that Mikel Arteta had contracted the virus, and then an emergency meeting had went in place, and then the games was postponed up until the 3rd of April. So my question is, why did the Premier League not put this in place beforehand? Why did it take a manager and a couple of major players from Chelsea and Leicester players having symptoms, Everton players having symptoms? Why did it take all that for them to take action? Why couldn't they be proactive and not reactive?
Shane McMahon said it better, didn't he? Here comes the money. It's all down to one thing and one thing only. It is the money. Money talks.
I think just to stick up for the Premier League, I think they were waiting for the government's advice first. I think they were waiting to see what was happening and
wash your hands.
But it's even like I was hoping the game would go ahead, but not go ahead at the same time. Like I wanted to go and see me football. I wanted to go that match day, do with videos, edit, all that kind of good stuff that we do on a match day. I mean, that's just me from a personal perspective, but I was worried that in case someone else next of us breathes on it. Again, that's the anxiety that comes through this now. People are worried that even if you look at me and you accidentally, saliva comes out your mouth and hits me.
All you gotta do is shout. If you shout, You know, how many
I
times during the
reported
game?
shout, how
And I do plenty of shouting whilst I'm at St James's Park. And you know, it can get transmitted so easily, and that is the big,
But I think
big worry.
the Premier League were waiting for the government, but however, I still think the Premier League was still wrong in delaying it this long. Because even when I went to Southampton, I was really, really concerned about being on the two tubes there and
To
back.
be fair, you've done quite well to avoid it, mate. You've been here, there, and everywhere. You've been to London
Run the
twice.
gauntlet.
You've been to London 3 times since the coronavirus came about. You've been to Southampton. You've been all over. You've been all over the gaff, mate. And you've managed to avoid it. So,
Well, it's not just that. I could be a carrier. I just might not show any symptoms.
I mean, I hope not.
No, of course not.
But you know.
But I could be, for
Nobody
example,
will show
Paul
next
could
week.
be a carrier, but he might not even know. He might not have any symptoms where the next person that he bumps into, maybe. So the figures that are getting reported are only confirmed cases. Like I say, and I said this off camera, that the government, their bizarre situation when they want 60% of the UK to catch it, so they become immune to it. But unfortunately, we will take a few hits along the way. Unfortunately, death will happen, and that's going to be in the 6-figure sum.
Yeah, it is. It is sad news. There is also no football until the 3rd of April in England. I know there's several of the other major leagues that have been called off as well. It started the week with games played behind closed doors, like the PSG versus Borussia Dortmund match that was played behind closed doors.
Several thousand fans outside.
There was a couple that played. I know Rangers played by Leverkusen, and that went ahead, and that was a full house. Liverpool versus Atletico, that went ahead normally. But there was a few played behind closed doors, and rightly so. But it's a sad state of affairs, man, honestly. But there is no football for a couple of weeks. But it is. I'm gonna say, if you need your football fix, on the 29th of March, Newcastle Fans TV take on Sunderland Fans TV. So if you're that desperate for football in the next couple of weeks or so, there is that, and you can watch us go 2 games up against Sunderland Fans TV on the 29th.
That's better. I was going to say, when you said take on, I was going to go defeat on Newcastle Fans TV team.
I mean,
defeat.
with you as manager, mate, anything is possible. Especially.
I'm getting me Rafa tinted specs already ready to go there.
Don't worry about content as well. Can I just touch upon as well? People are worried about content. There is plenty of content on Newcastle Fans TV, so don't worry.
Yeah, like what, Mr. Lawler? I mean,
I don't want to spoil it. There is stuff coming later on this week. We've got 3 videos later on this week coming.
Yeah, well, I've been doing I'm to do a video coming soon that Lee's gonna graciously put together. Loads and loads of clips of everybody from the channel in a fun video that's coming up, but I'll not let too much away. But the one thing that really surprised me was what Karen Brady had to say.
It didn't surprise me.
Which I found quite remarkable, actually. She stated the football league just needs cancelled for this season.
Convenient.
That's what I thought. It's very convenient because West Ham United are currently tied on points just outside the bottom 3 on goal difference. And they've got the hardest run in. So for them to say, yeah, cancel the league, no bother, it really doesn't surprise at all. Rob, what did you think of Karen Brady's comments?
It was a bit like we all sort of come across a little kid who's losing at a game, and then just before the game's ended, they say, oh no, we call it quits now, let's call it a draw, sort of thing. Reminded me exactly of that. I think it was very petty of Karen Brady. We will go by what the experts say on this, not what the owner of a club in trouble is going to say. But let's leave this to the experts alone.
If she was up where Liverpool were, if West Ham were top of the league,
exactly,
then she have the same answer? I very much doubt it.
Very much indeed. But what would you actually look to do? Lee, I'll come to you first for this one. In terms of if it was your decision, and it comes to April 3rd, and the coronavirus is still much at large, what are you looking to do? Are you looking to postpone again? Are you looking to delay or cancel and give Liverpool the league, or bring up 2 other teams up? There's been many different scenarios talked about with the Euros potentially being cancelled, and more on that in a minute. But what would you look to do?
I think the inevitable is you've got to look at delaying first. You cannot make a season void. I mean, the amount of billions being spent in the lawsuits, that'll just happen. Not just Premier League clubs, you talk about players, income, you talk about broadcasters, not just nationally, you talk about internationally as well. All it would be is constant court cases.
Fans?
Yeah, I think the other fans are suffering as well. Fans out of pocket. I think realistically, you've got to look. We're not going to hit the peak. I think the big meeting with your UEFA and the Premier League next week.
That'll be our next week's
A
show.
lot of people think that come April the 3rd or 4th on the Friday, Saturday, Sunday that they'll be delayed again. So be it. I think if it has to run into June, July, so be it again. But the only concern is what do you do with player contracts or free agents or out of loans. That surely has to be granted a month extension or even 2 month. Euros, obviously we'll find out on Tuesday. That has to be for me for delayed. And then the knock-on effect of the women's Euros, which is based in this country, the following year will be delayed. I think the glimmer of hope there for the football authorities that the World Cup Qatar 2022 is in December. You could time the leagues for the next 2 years and then come up to that winter break and have a month off and then kick in again. And that's the glimmer of hope for the football world. The other flip side is I do like the idea if the league is stopped, not that I want the league to be stopped, is that the chief executive of Brighton had said you give Liverpool the title because no one's going to catch Liverpool, no one gets relegated, and you bring up Leeds and West Brom. That's only
I think that's
if the league
possible.
was stopped. I like that idea, but that's only, and I don't like the fact that the league will be stopped. But if it was, that would be the next best solution for me. You bring up Leeds and West Brom.
I want to reduce the Premier League.
I think it's really unfair on the teams in and around the playoffs because between 3rd and 12th, I think they're separated by literally 10 or 12 points, and that's from 3rd to 12th in the Championship.
It's always
all
so
those teams
congested.
that are chomping at the bit, and that only a win away from potentially the playoffs. It's really unfair.
Do you know what? Do you know what's unfair is that whatever the Premier League do, because it's not down, the Premier League have to have a major vote. So I believe, as far as I'm right, it's 14. Normally it's 14 out of 20. If they vote in favour, that will happen. So if there's no relegation, a 14 out of 20 vote, that's it. You will not have. It's their say or no say because you're board members now of the Premier League. So it's a big decision. Tuesday for UEFA, Thursday for the Premier League.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I think you should give nobody nothing. It has to be won on the pitch, and regardless to what happens next season, they need to finish this season off first and foremost before anything else.
They kind of take the title away from Liverpool. I think if there was a scenario like that, I'd honestly I wouldn't be surprised if Liverpool Football Club actually boycotted the Premier League and just didn't play it.
You've got to finish this season off, even if you wait.
Because in terms of a team that's dominated the Premier League, we haven't seen someone quite like Liverpool since probably the Centurion side. And if you take that away from them because of this, I think it's really shocking, to be honest. And I think if they do call a league off, then they've got to give Liverpool the title at the very minimum. And even then, the teams that are looking to fight to get out of the relegation zone, they kind of get relegated.
They cannot cancel this season, regardless to whether they shrink it. They shrink next season, reduce it down or whatever. Put that to one side. This season, it comes down to money. I'm a season ticket holder. If I don't get to see the rest of these games this season, I'm going to be complaining in Newcastle. I haven't got you. I wanted a contract for X number of games. I haven't seen them. I want some of my money back. And like you said before, Lee,
good luck.
All the other,
we've already paid for it.
You know what I mean? We've paid for it. So I paid for a service. I want some of that money back because you've not kept your side of the agreement, regardless to what's gone on. All the other issues you can sort next season out later. You push that back. You get this season sorted where we've got to take a couple of months and have a mini pre-season before we start again. But even next summer, you've got issues with World Cup qualifiers at the end of the next start, don't they?
Yeah.
So again, do we look at reducing them? Things have got to be pushed together, so get rid of replays and stuff like that.
Is health comes first.
Yeah, so get this sorted, give it a couple of months, and then restart.
The positives are that China's numbers are coming down.
Yeah.
You would expect Italy's start to coming down because they're right there. They're up there. Spain is about to happen. We're 2 weeks behind. We'll have to see how it goes, and then obviously America's now stopped all the UK flights completely now. So I think when numbers decrease, that's when you'll start seeing rugby league still going ahead, Cheltenham still going. That was just ludicrous.
Another money decision. That's purely money.
When the numbers start going that way, downwards, I'm pointing to people who are listening in the car and stuff. That's when you can start opening them up. Even if it has to be gradually, where you have a partial stadium or an empty stadium, do it that way if you have to. but health has to come
Well,
first.
the only time that they've cancelled seasons in English football is because of the Great War and the Second World War, and even then, those seasons were only just a few games into it, so it was the most consensual thing, just to, we'll call it quits on after these 3 games.
Yeah.
Whereas now, we've only got about 10 games remaining. You can't cancel it right now.
So again, would common sense say, Rob, that you finish the season, you worry about next season whenever we get this one done?
Even if you have to even if we resume this season around August, September, you gotta finish it, and I think you gotta have some sort of mathematical genius to rethink some sort of schedule ready for the next season.
Well, for a WhatsApp message, didn't leave a name, but I think the best solution is to end the season based on current positions. They say the table doesn't lie, so ...
It does lie because Aston Villa, although I don't.
It doesn't lie on the last game of the
Aston Villa have a game in hand, so at the moment they're going down. So what if they get a what if they get a draw?
Isn't that what you want, Lee?
Yeah, of course.
We all want
for this.
Bournemouth, I'm sure Bournemouth have got a game in hand.
I take them going down as well, to be honest.
I know, but it's unfair for West Ham to stay up and Bournemouth have that game in hand.
Yeah,
all they need is draw.
It's the luck of the fixtures you've had. If you stop it now, it's pure luck. It's got to be on sport and excellence over the course of a season. Forget next season at the moment. Get this over with, and then let's deal with this season properly. And then readdress everything else. It's the only fair way to do it is complete this one before you go on to another one. You don't have 2 things going. Whether we get rid of the summer break for the players, and the players just have to accept it, and we're going into a new season after a week or 2's break, then so be it.
You've got to delay it. There's no question. You cannot stop the league because it's fair. It's unfair, and secondly, could you imagine the amount of lawsuits that'll be everywhere?
Like Manchester United and Arsenal, who are chasing down a Champions League players. Can you imagine
millions,
them?
That's millions.
You use that term loosely. They're not really chasing it.
Well, Man United are now.
That picked a little bit. Yeah,
but it's Man United. They're so inconsistent at the minute.
Look at Sheffield United. It's once in a lifetime opportunity for them to get into Europe, potentially through the league. Because you've got to imagine a bit like that Ipswich side that did so well and then just
what about
faded
Leeds?
away.
Imagine how much that's going to cost Leeds. They haven't been in the Premier League for 16, 18 years.
It's not going to affect them much. So always find a way.
It'll affect money. It's all about money.
Yeah,
and it'll affect them hundreds of millions of pounds.
So this season, it has to finish by on the football, whether that's with no fans or fans. It should be fans in because football's nothing without the fans. But this season has to be finished and then sort out next season. Whether you scrap the League Cup, some people have said, scrap replays, whatever you do to fit the season in, whether you get rid of international friendlies, whether you can reduce the World Cup qualifying down, so maybe give certain teams buys the bigger teams and then have a qualifying for some of the smaller nations. I don't know.
San Marino's in a good day.
Yeah, so do we really need to see us beat them 10-0? No, we don't really need to see that game. So can we get rid of that game and again just try and help take the pressure off? But this season,
what do you think?
I want to see one on the pitch. Liverpool deserve to win the league. They're going to win the league, but they deserve to do it. And I was having an argument and a discussion about the FA Cup and having a joke on about this. Newcastle scored the most goals, so we should get the cup. But can you imagine if anybody was sort of handed something, it would feel awful. It wouldn't feel right. So you want to earn it by on the pitch always.
You want to go to Wembley and see it happening.
Whole thing, yeah.
But Sam's put in the chat from the channel, cancel the Euros and finish the domestic leagues in the summer and delay the start of next season by a month. I actually agree with that completely.
Assuming it hasn't got bad, assuming the worst has happened, and then again we're on the decrease.
I mean, we'd have to do a lot more international breaks next season. But
I would scrap them. Get rid of your friendlies. Just leave it at qualifiers.
Yeah, and I would even say, the top 10 teams in the FIFA rankings, you're getting a buy through. We need to make savings here and there and everywhere. This is what we're going to do to sort it. Stick some of the qualifiers on midweek and just say this is mend and make do. It's making the decisions that need to be made. And we all know, World Cups and stuff are really, really important, but the chaos that not finishing this season will cause, it'll have a knock-on for crazy.
It'll go on for years if we don't finish it.
Yeah. But this weekend, I know health comes first and everything like that, but it's been a really long weekend. I mean, TalkSport talking about Stuart Pearce's dress sense, talking about games that they've made up. Soccer Saturday running out of news. It's been a long weekend.
Noughts and crosses.
Even the Chronicle.
Everyone is running out of content, but. Before I wrap up this part in the comments, obviously it's going to be a long couple of weeks, and We want to know what you want to see on the radio show, so leave a comment, leave a WhatsApp message if you want, to the type of things you would like to see, because me and Lee had a bit of a domestic the other day. I thought might have been better postponing a couple of weeks of the show with lack of content, but Lee thinks there is a lot of content, so I'll open the floor to the people that watch. What do you think we should talk about over the next couple of weeks? Because
just before you go to the break, I'll quickly say something that there is actually a little bit of positive that come out of coronavirus is the food banks. I like to highlight that. Some of the fantastic work that our club do. Aston Villa, I believe Brighton, am I right in saying?
Did, yeah.
Donating all their food to people who need it. Rather than going to waste, they've donated all that food to the people. And
York City did that as well.
York City, great. So there are small positives that come out of this. And the thing I like about it is that now there's none of this bickering and a lot of people are uniting together against one enemy, which
absolutely.
is this virus. So, yeah.
Yeah, people are uniting, which is a fantastic thing to see. And
credit to the club as well.
Yeah.
But Stu.
Yeah, I mean...
I'm sorry, are you crediting the club, Paul? Can we get this on record?
It won't be a Lee Charnley decision, of course it won't, but you've got to credit the club, the foundation, the food bank, the fantastic work.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw when we had the Ollie in last time round, about some of the fantastic work that those connected with the club do. And again, the food bank is in the same bracket as that. Something to be really proud about our football club, and that was a decision to be proud about.
Yeah, but before a break, just make sure you stay safe, cover up on public transport and things like that, and proceed with caution wherever you go.
Don't stockpile.
But, what?
Don't stockpile. I'm sick of it. Sick of that already.
No, you're sick of no bog roll, like Paul.
Well, the thing is, when you've got a family and you've got all relatives, I mean, I've got the wife's grandma, she's stuck in a care home, she can't come out because of it all. And when you can't get all the basic provisions and you've got kids and stuff like that, it's just impossible day-to-day life.
Yeah, I mean, as I said before, make sure you stay safe and everything like that. But that's all the coronavirus stuff done. Thank God, it means we can talk about what we're here for, what we're sitting at this table for, which is football. A long player ratings for sum up the whole season, going through every player and everything.
He's a spoiler. Atsu's going to score though, probably a 1.
Well, all the debate to come here on the Black and White Show. So see you in a couple of minutes, everyone.
No, I was just kidding him.
Right, we are back, everyone. Right, I have one. So Kyle's busy at the toilet. That's why Kyle's not here. And I've just been pointing to Rob to carry on, but no. Right, get your WhatsApp messages in. You can see the number, and obviously we will read them out. We want your messages, which is 0747 6497166. I'll just repeat that again. 0747 6497166. It wouldn't be Kyle if he's living his life in the toilet. Kyle, over at you.
He's back from his self-isolation.
And he's washed his hands.
It's a toilet break, but I didn't know it was the show's continuing with ours. It was a bit of a shock. I would have run back otherwise. But welcome back to part 2, everyone. I mean, you've already went through this a little bit, but in this part we'll be going about the player ratings of the season and going through each and every player. So
did you wash your hands?
Yes, I've seen Sam's comment. I washed my hands, especially with this. Especially after everything we've discussed in part 1.
Imagine if you didn't, man.
I mean, I'd make Rob very uncomfortable very quickly if I told him I didn't wash my hands, but I can assure him I did. So, on to the first one, which he's even looking at my hands still, even though I said. I mean, do you not believe us, Rob? Tut.
It was for comedic effect.
Well, look, I mean, people listening on the radio wouldn't have seen you look at my hands.
Touche.
Indeed. So, on to the first one.
No, I was thinking of cloning Given. I was thinking of cloning our goalkeeper Given. Touche.
Oh, goodness me.
Right.
Hit an iceberg.
We'll start with Dubravka, the goalkeeper. As you always start with, the goalkeeper.
I'll start from the beginning like I usually do. That's your catchphrase, or one of your catchphrases.
It's not a catchphrase.
Should pinch one like I do. Keep it 2. Sorry,
But,
Paul.
Keep it real.
Keep it locked.
At least you don't actually copy any video ideas now.
No, leading the way. Leading the way, Rob.
I mean, I don't know. Do we copy content? Lee, do it?
I'm not getting involved and put me in this.
We're meant to be going on about the player ratings and how good Dubravka's been this season.
By the way, that wasn't me who said that for that person who's watching.
Let's get straight. Well, it doesn't matter who said it, Lee. You're the head of the channel, so you'll get it now.
Yeah, I'll get on Twitter tonight.
Woo!
Martin Dubravka will start with. Most saves in the league this season, one of our best players, and has just signed a long-term deal quite recently. Been very consistent. So I'll open the floor up. Let us know on the WhatsApp group and in our live chat as well what you think of Martin Dubravka this season. But I'll open the floor by saying he's probably been one of our best players by far this season. So Rob, I'll come to you first. What do you think of Martin Dubravka?
How long have you got? Honestly,
how long have we got?
An hour and 15. Hurry up.
Yeah.
Try not to take all of that up, though. I've got other things to talk about.
I've said it before. I'll say it again. He's our best goalkeeper since Shea Given, without doubt. He does have the occasional mistake in him, but it is without doubt that he saves us so many more points than he concedes us. Without doubt, he's, like you say, he's probably our best. One of the best players that we've had at the club, and keeping him at the club in the future is an absolute must. I mean, that picture you see on your screens now from the game against Rochdale, he was the one that kept us in that, without doubt.
Yeah, I remember Lee's quick thoughts on that one. What was the title? Your keeper has to keep you in a game against the League One side.
Something like that.
But believe it or not, he's actually tied for most individual errors that have led to goals this season in terms of goalkeepers. He's tied with De Gea, believe it or not. I know it's hard to believe.
I don't know. The thing is, though, like with the
amount
of shots and testing,
he's
got. Yeah, he's bound to because of the pressure that he's put in under because of the formation that we played up until recently, where we just sat back and said, you know what, possession, it's overrated.
Indeed, but for every player, this is where the fireworks will be on this part. We'll all have to agree on a rating. So I'm going to open the floor with Martin Dubravka and say 10 out of 10 this season. I think he's been that good. We're starting strong on this player ratings, but I think Dubravka, like I said before, has kept winning more games than anything else. He's made loads of very important saves, and I'd honestly go as far as saying would be in the bottom 3 right now with Martin Dubravka.
He's done more saving than Halifax Bank, hasn't he? He's done more saving than that.
Save the Titanic.
I was thinking that 10.
As much as I
10.
agree with what you say there, Kyle, I just think, well, of course, less than 9 is way too harsh, but 10, at the same time, it hasn't been a flawless season for him.
He's made a couple of errors, but he's made so many saves.
What do you want, blood?
It's got to be a 10.
Gotta be.
It's got to be 10. Straight 10. Lee?
Yeah, I'd have given 10.
It's not a 10 for me, it's a 9. I
It's a 9 for me.
I think he's been
What planet are you
fantastic,
on?
but there is an odd occasion where he drops a clanger, so that's the
And
reason
so
why
is every goalkeeper ever.
exactly that's why you can't give someone a 10 out of 10. So for me, you get to
So
9. He has kept in a lot
So
of
we're giving
games.
nobody a 10.
No one
I'd
should
give
be.
him a 10.
I'm not giving it a 10. I'm giving it a 9. I think
I'd give
he's.
it an 11 if I could.
I think he's fantastic. He's brilliant, but there is the odd mistake in that he does cost.
Oh, more
the odd,
serious than Superman and Batman.
That's why because he's brilliant, but there is the odd clanger, which you're all allowed to do. But 9 for me.
You know, if Carl Darlow was in goal, I
More
think we'd be in the relegation zone for
Probably,
this season.
I would agree, but
Yeah.
not a 10 for me, but 9.
I'd say 10.
Exactly. B Taylor in the live chat. How are you, man? It's got to be a 10. Harshly, very, very harsh.
Sean Weirs has said 8 or 9. Out of
Wow,
10.
I wouldn't go that. I wouldn't go an 8.
I'd get the Specsavers if you think it's an 8.
Anybody who says it's an 8 needs to stop watching this content.
Oh, so we're at deadlock. 2.
That's 9.5.
9. So we're just going to say 9.5 out of 10. Yeah, that's absolutely fine. I'll go with 9.5 out of 10. It's close to 10, but not quite. But let's go on to the next goalkeeper, Carl Darlow. Rob Elliott won't feature in this because he hasn't played, but Carl Darlow, he hasn't been called on very much. The failure to get into the squad ahead of Dubravka's obviously been very difficult for him. And Dubravka actually picked up an injury quite well last week at Southampton and played on till the end.
Perfectly timed.
So he couldn't have timed it any worse with this coronavirus hitting. He probably hates it more than most because this was his big opportunity to play in the Premier League for the first time since, I think it's January.
Probably sits there with a dartboard with a picture of coronavirus. It's probably darting you.
But when he has been called upon this season, I've got to be honest, he hasn't really set the world alight. He's conceded 5 goals in 4 games, and they're against low opposition. He's had 1 clean sheet that was at home to Oxford in the cup. So it's, for me, I can't give him any more than a 5. He made a massive error against Oxford where he should have saved that free kick. I'm sorry, but he should have saved that free kick for me. But I'll open the floor. What do you think, Rob?
Yeah, I do agree. When he's been called upon, he's not been called upon that many times, but when he has, he's not made me want to think, well, we're in safe hands here should Dubravka get injured. He's not made me think that. So 5 at the very least, a 5. Yeah.
Paul?
Yeah. Oh God. Clean sheets wise, he's got less clean sheets than a teenager. It doesn't inspire confidence in me whatsoever.
Wow.
Every time he plays, I'm sitting there thinking we are going to concede. I know we're going to concede, so I know we've got to score some more goals. Something that Newcastle doesn't do very much of. So all of that based upon what I would see as the middle standard for a backup goalkeeper, and I would say 4.
4.
4.
I mean, I'd probably go down and agree with Paul and say 4.
Just below average.
I just don't think he's been up to it. He's been linked away with half of the championship this season. West Brom and Leeds wanted him in the summer.
Got a great song
Nothing
when he's playing. It's great when you're in the
well
crowd.
liked.
Do you want to sing it?
Oh, well, I've got a clip of actually me singing it, and I was going to put it on the private group. Actually, funny you should say it, and it's great that 5,000 people singing that at West Brom away. But that's where the fun
He is very
stops.
much liked. He is a good goalkeeper. It's not like he's Jack Anik or like Matt Sells. He's not that bad.
Oh God!
And in terms of a number 2 goalkeeper, he is an all right. He is all right. Just I think our standards have been set so high with how good Dubravka is. I just think when he's called upon, it could be like a match fitness and things like that. And obviously it goes against.
I'd feel happier with Rob Elliott on the bench. I really would.
Really,
I would.
Freddie Woodman next season.
Yeah.
More on him in a bit. More on him in the last part of the show, Freddie Woodman. But I'll go for 4 for Darlow. Rob, 4,
5.
5. Okay. Lee.
I would say 5.
Deadlock again. Come
I'd
on.
probably say 5, but yeah, I'd rather have Darlow in the nets ahead of Dubravka for penalty shootout.
Really? I don't.
Darlow's
think so.
brilliant shot stopper for penalties.
Yeah.
So I'd rather have Darlow. Just for penalty shootout, I'll go Darlow.
See, I thought that in the cup against Leicester earlier in the season.
But Leicester had
he
some
did
good
fantastic on penalties, didn't he, Paul? Where he didn't save any of them.
I would not. I mean,
Just
Darlow,
the penalties.
to
Just
me,
penalties, I would Darlow.
yeah, I still say 4. So I think we're going to go 4.5. Are we in total?
4.5, yeah.
Yeah, it's about right, isn't it?
That's a
Yeah,
5.
I'd say so. On to right backs now, and the first one that I've got on my notes is DeAndre Yedlin, and he's been linked with Crystal Palace in the summer. He's had a couple of injuries. He's had 15 games this season, scoring 1 goal, which was like the salmon Tom Daly dive towards the ball with a deflected cross from St Maximin against Bournemouth, I believe.
Yeah.
But other than that, this season, I think it's the worst I've ever seen Yedlin play. I've got to be honest. Against Oxford away in the replay in the FA Cup, he was borderline tragic. It was like a horror film. He was really bad, and his crossing ability.
Do you remember that movie where there was 2 characters who swapped like personalities? It was 2. Yes, there was 2 women who swapped mother and daughter. I think that was it. It's like him and Manquillo have swapped places all of a sudden. So it's a strange set of circumstances. It really is.
I mean, I've always rated DeAndre Yedlin, but game on game that he's played this season, he just hasn't been reliable. When he plays, teams target him and he struggles with it. Maybe it's his major injury, maybe it's a couple of factors, but for me, he's just not been good enough this season. And if we bring in another right back to go along with Manquillo, who we'll talk about in a bit, I'll probably get rid of him. For me, I'll probably go with a 4 for Yedlin this season. Rob?
Yeah, right back is a place where there's a lot of competition there because we've also got Manquillo, we've got Kraft who can also play there.
Let Paul have it.
Kraft is competition. Oh goodness me!
He's next.
Jamie Sterry next. You're going to be saying.
I'm really looking forward to Paul's perspicacity on Kraft and that.
What?
Alright, Rob Howard, we're not all that clever. Come on.
Perspicacity.
Right,
it's where like having an opinion or insight into something.
I mean,
just call it opinion.
I think read the room, Rob, because perspicacity I've never heard of before as a word. So
Google it.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to now. But
probably can't spell it.
But 4 out of 10 for Yedlin. Do you agree, Rob?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Lee?
I would agree, but with Yedlin, out of all of our choices there, he's the one who gets in the best positions and can't cross. If you think of all of our right backs, he's always the one.
There was one game where he couldn't cross at all and it was really frustrating.
I know.
He kept getting in the position.
He gets in some brilliant positions. You think, oh, what a position he's in. Can't beat his first man. You can't lift the ball. So, yeah, I'll go along with 4.
Yeah, I think 4. I mean, I'm just looking at behind Rob. Way better. Stevie Watson. I'd have him any day of the week.
It's been set for fullbacks well and truly behind Rob. And,
that's all I can say. 4 out of 10. Stop-start season, been injured, out of form, in and out of the team, on the bench, not utilised, not good enough. 4 out of 10.
Yeah. So we're agree on 4 out of 10. The first non-deadlock that we've got. On to Manquillo now. And like DeAndre Yedlin, he's played 15 games this year, but he hasn't scored any goals. He has made an assist though. For me, it's the opposite of DeAndre Yedlin at the minute. As Paul says, they've swapped bodies. It seems Manquillo looks very consistent. His tackling ability is very good. His positional play has improved dramatically. He can get forward. He caused a lot of problems. This season, it's been like his resurgence. He's been quite unbelievable this year, and I never thought I'd compliment Manquillo because he was probably the first one out the door, one of the first out the door in the summer, but he's came on leaps and bounds. Lee, I'll come to you first. What do you think his rating is throughout the season?
Defensively, he's more assured. In terms of being on the pitch, I'll score him rather than his in and out of the side. I'll probably score him a 7. I think that's about right. Yeah. If it was to score it differently, like can he get in the side, I'll probably knock him down a bit. But yeah, I think you're not as worried when you see Manquillo. And probably be, in fact, out of all the choices, you'll probably want him picked first. I'll go 7. I think that's about right.
I think 7's fair. I'll go 7. There's a comment from B. Taylor as well. Manquillo gives me more confidence than ever this season. 7. I echo that sentiment and say 7. Paul?
Yeah, I've just ordered a portion of humble pie, but yes, 7. 7 for the season.
Free agent as well.
Yeah, they need to sort that contract out, man.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll touch upon it with Fernandez. We were mentioned that he should get a new contract on the show last week, and lo and behold, he gets an extension on his deal. So Bruce, in the
Charlie
that you're watching, or Charlie, do get the contract sorted of Javier Manquillo. I will be
updating Charlie quite a bit.
I will be venting my frustration about Matty Longstaff later in the show.
Well, if Lee Charlie is listening,
contract negotiation, but for now we'll say Manquillo give him a new contract.
Yeah, he's got to.
Now, So we've agreed with 7 on Manquillo.
Yeah.
Confirm. Right, next one. Emil Croft. This is going to be an interesting one. Believe it or not, I didn't think he'd made this many, but he's actually made 14 appearances this season on and off the bench.
And how many were last-minute subs?
Yeah,
A few of them were last-minute subs, but the 2 games that he started this season were Norwich away and Liverpool away. And he hasn't started a game since that Liverpool game away from home. In that player ratings, I haven't slated anybody like I slated Croft. I thought he was really poor. I know it's a way to the European champions and all that, but
former European.
Even when I was at Norwich, we did.
He was shocking. He really was, and he just doesn't look up to standard.
He's a fraud. He's an absolute fraud of a right back. Even as a right wing back, he's just a liability on that side. People can target him all day long. You might as well have one of them signs that says, going to be serving the next customer, come down here, so you can queue them down and just get them to come past him and cross them in. He's useless, inept, he can't tackle. His crossing is not great. He's not good enough. He's not Premier League quality. He's been absolutely garbage, in my opinion.
Actually, I got slightly wrong. He's made 3 starts this season. He started at Tottenham as well. For me,
probably his best game, that.
Even against Tottenham, he looked shaky. Son was Tottenham.
I didn't say he was good. I said that's probably his best game.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to slate him too much, but I really think
he needs to come back next season. If he's going to be keeping him, come back next season, but come back totally different. Don't come back like this. If you're going to come back like this, don't bother.
He had a cameo against Leicester in the second half where he played centre back and
he actually looks better there.
He looked better, didn't he?
He looks better as centre back.
Yeah,
and that's an issue there.
Yeah, exactly. He's more of a defensive player, and I don't even know why he was bought, because he was brought in because Manquillo and Yedlin last season weren't good enough. But Manquillo seems to have filled the void by playing better. And to be honest, with the failure to get back into the team, how poor he was when he was in the team, I can't give him any more than the 1.
He's no better than Sterry. I think
Sterry should have won 3 seasons.
Yeah, and at least he's got that connection to the club. So I'd rather have Sterry than Kraft. He's absolutely a fraud. He's a waste of wages.
Yeah, I'd say a 1.
1, yeah, easy.
Did you say a 1?
I feel it might be a little too harsh because he's looked a fair little bit decent when he's played in centre back.
Rob.
So I'll step it up and say 2.
We're 3-0 down though against Leicester. I mean, they took the gas off. They're hard. I mean, come on.
Even Kraft's own mother, his own mother would give him 1.
I know the signing leaves a lot to be desired.
You're just trying to be nice. Come on, be real, Rob. It's 1. Lee?
I'm going to say 2 as well.
Where do you get the extra 1 point from?
I think it's because he's had 3 major bad games, really bad games where you can pinpoint. Okay,
and he's
so
played 3.
Down. And he started against Spurs. And I think he does. You think he does look better.
Even his own mother's phoning up now saying I'm giving him a 1.
No, I didn't think he's been like, for example, if you're going to compare that to Joe Linton, you know what I mean. So Joe Linton there to bring in goals, Kraft has to stop them, but. I'll go 2.
I've just looked in the comments and there's a Steve Bruce who says yes 1.
It's 1. It's got to be 1. Even Steve, it's definitely a 1, like for sure. He hasn't been good enough.
No way near.
He hasn't got back into the squad to prove he's any good. Even when we were on a defensive crisis, he was on the bench. I mean, how Lee?
No, I'll say 2.
I would write to NASA and ask him, do they need an extra person to go on the rocket to the moon? Because he might be put to more use.
Might be the safest place at the minute.
It might be. He's a liability. He's a right back who just can't. He can't defend. He looks better at centre back. He can't attack. He can't cross. He can't do anything. And every time he's got the ball, like, please, just get rid of it. Just pass it to somebody else who has a clue what they are doing.
If you'd like to see more videos on Emil Kraft, Paul, please promote the private group.
Oh yes.
Admittedly, when I do see him, I do think of it's kind of like The Hunting of the Snark by Lewis Carroll. You know,
what's up?
And what is that, Rob?
Well, no, it's a philosophical book. It's a philosophical work by Lewis Carroll, where The Hunting of the Snark is where it's the idea where people search for something that is never there or no one knows what it is.
Paul just like looked
at
me.
Kraft is just like that, really.
I laughed because Paul looked at me, but we're going to have to go 1.5, lads. That we're kind of...
Even Mammy Kraft's shaking their head at that.
Kraft. But yeah, we're going to have to go 1.5 because Lee's been very stubborn. But onto the centre-backs. we're going to go straight to Fernandez because he's the most relevant in terms of news at the minute. Finally getting his extension sorted for the end of next season. Rightly so. He's been very steady this season. There's only been a couple of games where he's kind of looked out of line.
Place.
Out of place. Yes, that's the word I was looking for. But when he's next to Lascelles and Clark, I find he's a bit of a weakness. But when he plays with anybody else, with defenders, I find that he's really good. He's very comfortable. He scored 2 goals this season and has an assist as well, more than most of our strikers. In fact, all of them. At some point or another.
He's keeping Lejeune and Shah out the team. That's some goal.
He's keeping really good players out of the squad, and it was a no-brainer for me to get this put in place. But
some people say he's a hell of a crosser as well, so he might be flexible.
He's a hell of a right winger apparently as well. But no, I prefer to keep him at centre half.
So if you want Football Manager, you'd be tutoring him with Kraft, wouldn't you?
Well,
this is how you do it.
With Kraft, to be honest. But he's played 25 games this season, so he's been a mainstay in the squad throughout all the season. Even when he's played bad, he got dropped for a hint of time after the Leicester defeat. But then again, a lot of people in this list did. For me, I'm going to give, if Manquillo got a 7, I feel Fernandez has been kind of in the same bracket. So I'm going to give Fernandez a 7 as well. Because he has had a couple of poor performances. Made a massive mistake against Wolves where he didn't pick up Dion Decker or whatever his name is. So I'm going to say 7. Rob, what do you think?
It's not the first time I've heard you use that pronunciation of Dion Decker. It's Dendoncker.
He's a
What
Toon
was the
fan.
word you said before?
Dendoncker.
No, the word you said before.
Perspicacity.
That one. What's your rating for Fernandez in the season?
Listen to me on the private group trying to pronounce some place.
I think
Yeah, Sen.
it's got to be 6. It's got to be
6.
I'm
6?
sorry. I'm
Oh
sorry.
my God! I've nearly fallen off my chair.
Kool-Aid.
He's been good recently, but I'd say throughout the season, nah. I think he was a little bit lucky to get that contract extension.
Let it sink in, people. A 6 for Fernandez. Lee, I'll open the floor to you, mate. What do you think?
I just agree with both of you. I think he's been better than a 7.
Yeah.
Really?
I think he's actually up there. I think I can give him an 8. I think he's... Who's the first person he looked like he won in that centre-back position right now?
Lascelles.
No, it wouldn't be Lascelles. It would be Fernandez, wouldn't it? He's been brilliant. He's a leader. He's a talker. Probably doesn't feel as that he's got the authority when Lascelles and Clark are next to him. Are probably great to some extent, but Fernandez has been brilliant.
He's a good squad player as well, isn't he?
He can bring the ball out. He's filling in for Fabian Schär when he brings the ball out on that right-hand side, hence why some people think he's daft enough to cross the ball on the right wing. But I think as a centre-back position, I think he has been consistently really good. If it wasn't because of his age, he may have got a recall for Argentina. I think he's been that good, and our defence with him in it looks much better than him not in it. And I hate saying that because I love Fabian Schär and all of that. But I think he rightly deserves his contract. I mean, Johnny both agree on that when we done the video the other day. Thoroughly deserved. Extension granted.
Okay. You've won us over, actually. I think he's worthy of an 8. Paul, do you think he's an 8?
As soon as you said the name, I thought 8 out of 10 in my head. Not only is he fantastic when he's in the team, he brings the ball out, he's a cracking player, but he's happy to go on the bench when he needs to go on the bench as well. He doesn't complain, kick off, moan, whine, anything like that. So he's a good professional, good to have around the squad, and I think for 4.6 million, correct us if I'm wrong.
I always remember, do you know what it is? Me and Rob both slated him because we were at Sky Sport the day it was deadline day and we were like, Fernandez, really? And now look at that now and you compare that and think, well, had him in, he's made you eat your humble pie again because I didn't want Fernandez in. Look at him now, proving everyone wrong.
Yeah, I thought it was actually quite a good, shrewd bit of business by Rafa, to be honest, to bring a former player in that he worked with at Napoli. I'm really happy with the signing. I'm really happy with Fernandez this season. I'm going to go for an 8. But with Rob saying
3-8 to 1-6.
With Rob saying 6, we're going to have to go. We're going to have to meet in the middle of 6 and 8, which is 7. So we're going to have to give him a 7. Unless Rob, you want to change it?
I know there's 3 against 1. That's 7 point something.
Yeah, but we've all got to agree. If not, we'll go in the middle.
I've noticed I've been absolutely slated.
Rightly so.
Rightly so.
I'm not going to change it though.
Yeah. Oh my God. We're going to have to stick with 7 then.
I'll push mine up to 9 then, so I will change it. Let's go 9.
Wow.
I think it should be the consensus of how many scores. If there's 3 8s, and I think, come on, it's got to be 8.
Political vote, so we're just going to stick with a 7 and
Ooh.
move on.
Not having that.
But to make you happy, Lee, we're moving on to your favourite flavour of the month, which is the elegant man. That is Fabian Schär. And I'm going to open the floor with this one. He's played 22 games this season, scored 2. I couldn't for the life of us remember who he actually scored against. Lee, who did he score against?
I've gone to completely blank as well.
Rob?
So Rob,
So who's this?
Who Schär scored against this season? He scored 2
Watford.
goals. 2 against Watford. Oh, right, no.
Oh no, one against Watford.
1 against Watford.
that was the VAR one. Remember, he
handballed it. Yeah.
Was the other one Everton at home or something?
Yes, it was. Yes.
Right, okay, yeah, fair enough. But for me, in terms of Fabian Schär, in terms of what we expect of him, it's been considerably lower than what I expect from Schär, because with him, on his days, he was best centre-back. No one comes close. Honestly, if he was...
Oh, disagree there, Kyle.
Very, very consistent, I think he'd be able to play for a Man City or something like that. But
most handsome too.
Spurs
steady now, Rob. He's mine.
Spurs were looking at him last season. They were heavily linked.
He's North-East Footballer of the Year.
He's made some massive errors recently. Since Boxing Day, he's been awful. But this is
I wouldn't say awful.
Throughout the whole season, he started all right. He was one of the better players in the run that we went on after we beat Leicester. So that being said, I'm going to give Schär a 7 out of 10. I'll open the floor. Lee, I'll let you go to your favourite man.
I think it's a 6. I'm going to knock him down. I don't think...
6, really?
I think he's been better than average. He started the season better, lost his place. A game... What was the game that went over? He just literally came on and he played on the left and the ball went over his head. The counter-attack.
That was...
I think that was him.
At home,
he's he hasn't been hit the heights. Can't get in the team because Fernandes is keeping him out. I don't think you can say he's been awful. I think that's a bit harsh on him. If he starts, I've got no problem with him coming in to start. No problem at all. I'm not worried about it. But it hasn't been better than last season. He is North-East Footballer of the Year because of last season. But
he was fantastic last season.
6 for me. I think he's not average, but he's better than that.
Yeah, if you're judging it on this season, which you've got to, then I think that's a fair score. I think he might be able to get some more game time if he also covers midfield. I've seen him do that internationally.
He come on against Everton there, didn't he? And then Palace away.
Oh, that Everton game was just bonkers. Oh, head's gone.
Palace away, he was playing there, he was moved up, so you can't fill in there as well.
Yeah, but I think 6 is fair.
6? Well, I went with 7. Rob?
I was going to say 7.
So we'll meet in the middle at 6.5, which is pretty fair, I think, for Schär. Next up, I've got Jamal Lascelles got a massive injury earlier on in the season, and by God did we miss him. When he's played, I think under Bruce he's been really solid. I can only think of 2 games where he's been really bad, and that was Leicester away and Arsenal away, where he was really poor. But other than that, he's played really well. He scored 1 goal in 23 games this year. I think he's been fairly solid. I don't think he's put a foot wrong bar the 2 games that I've mentioned. So I'm going to give Lascelles an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, it's got to be at least an 8, hasn't it? I'd be willing to try and push that up to... No, I'll stick at 8. I'll stick
Careful,
at 8.
comments are watching you.
I was
with what you said about Fernandes, you need to be very, very careful.
I've noticed his scores are going up now in nosebleed territory.
I'm very tempted to say 9 for Lascelles, but I've got to say 8. Like I say, I don't think he's the best player in the team, but he's an essential part of the team because his leadership.
Forget about his leadership. You're rating him on his football ability, though, aren't you?
Yeah, let's not forget. I think in terms of captaincy, it really is nihilus secundus, second to none. So I think you got to have him in the team.
Now he's trying to be too smart for his own.
Right, what's the rating, Rob? 8. 8, right. Lee, do you think 8?
I'm torn between 7 to 8.
See, I feel shocking on Fernandes, me, because he's got 7.5. And
Fernandes has played better than Lascelles for me.
I'd agree.
I'm gonna. I think if you like, I say, I just said going back before. I'm torn between 7 and 8, but Fernandes has had a better season than him in terms of football and ability.
I'm going to give Lascelles a 7 then. So
Lascelles, in terms of
it'll go
yes,
7.5.
He missed 3 months of the season. Take that apart. His leadership, take that apart. His football in sense, I'll probably score to Lascelles a 7.
Okay, that's fair. That's
fair
7. But then we'll have it as the same as Fernandes, which is 7.5, which I think is fair. On to the next one though, and if he gets lower than 7.5, there's going to be hell on. Trust us. And if he gets to 5 this time, I will be hammering Rob. But next up is Kieran Clark, and I know he's only played 17 games this season, and scored 2 goals. But Kieran Clark for me has been our best centre back this season by far. In early part of the season, there was talk about him leaving. He had a conversation with Steve Bruce about staying, and he didn't actually get his first start till Man United at home after the Leicester defeat. That was his look in, and he's never looked back since that game. He was constantly in the team, never got dropped. He had a stage late in December where he picked up a little bit of a knock, but other than that, he's been a mainstay in that team, and he hasn't made a big mistake this season for me. So Kieran Clark for me gets a solid 9 out of 10. I think he's been that good. Paul, what do you think?
It's the first one where I've sat there and thought I'm caught between two minds on this one, because obviously he hasn't played as much as what some of the others have, but you're quite right, when he has played, again, he's forced people to eat humble pie. I think he was literally last choice centre-back when we started the campaign, and everybody ridiculed us having him, us keeping him, but he's been absolutely fantastic, and on footballing ability, he has got to be up there with the likes of Martin Dubravka as one of our players of the season. So Dubravka got, was it 9.5 in the end?
Yeah,
I think so.
It's a real shame that he's injured from now the end of the season.
And
it's a real shame.
Part of us keeps thinking Fernandes, I'd probably give it, like I say, an 8. So I'd have been thinking an 8 or a 9, but I can see there's a good reason for giving a 9 for Kieran Clark, plus the goal scoring.
You Reds, just don't mention that game about Kieran Clark.
One bad game he played, and even then he was out of position.
That's it.
That was horrendous. That particular game, I remember it very, very well. It's still scarred in the back of me, back of my mind. But this season he has been an absolute revelation, and he's one of the first names, if fit, that you'd put down on the team sheet. And it goes to show you our defence has all been scoring really, really high, and that goes to prove a point of how
helps
we played this season. Yeah, so I think with the goals and everything else added on, I think 9.
Yeah,
9 is fair.
9. Are all in agreement on 9?
I would go 9. I would even push it to 10, but no, I'll say 9. I think Clark's
if he played
been
regularly, then
but we're not judging not regularly.
Well,
we're just judging him on his football
the thing is,
ability.
he would have wowed us more if he played more regularly.
He wasn't favoured early parts of the season.
And the delay of the Euros, if it does happen, will come in nicely for him. With that playoff game,
yeah.
Because obviously he's playing Dubravka in the Slovakia game in the playoff.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, but 9 out of 10. And the comments agree as well. I've just nearly battered the mic, but 9 out of 10 is more than a fair rating for Clark, and there could even be argued for higher. In the short time he's played, he's been fantastic for Newcastle. On to the next one, Florian Lejeune. He spent half the season out injured. He didn't actually get back into the frame until late December, 21st of December, when Miggy scored his first goal against Palace. That was the first game he came back in. And then he was rushed in due to the problems that we had at defence, where he played 3 games in, 3 games in around 6 or 7 days, due to the injury.
Craziness, wasn't it?
Which was mad, and it did show, because out of the centre-backs so far, in fact, out of all the centre-backs, I think Lejeune's actually going to get the lowest mark, in my opinion.
He has, but it's frustrating because you said before that Cher was our best defender, and I would say fit and on form, Lejeune is our best technically gifted defender.
I think he's got to have Lascelles or Clark alongside him to bring out the best in him.
But this season, it's just been.
I mean, Lee off camera, you told me that you weren't so happy with Lejeune this season. So, what do you think?
Barring the Everton game where he was a sub, and that was just a chaotic scene.
Centre forward.
Scored more goals in 90 seconds than Jordan has all season.
That Leicester game, he cost me. I think he cost me a point.
Man United away as well.
He was out of it though. He's like a boxer, like on the ropes. His legs are just gone.
Whether it's his fault, whether it's Bruce's fault, I think he's been a worry, a very much concerned. I worry when he's in there.
Do you think he's played well this season, other than the Everton?
I think he's gradually got a little bit better, but I'm still a bit conscious of him being in that lineup. I'd still rather have a Cher.
He needs a pre-season.
Even Bruce is picking Fabian Cher at the left centre back ahead of him. That tells its own story now. He doesn't trust him, but for me, Florian Lejeune gets a 3. I think it's been very, very underperforming.
He's missed out though, hasn't he? He's missed that pre-season, and it just shows. You can tell he's had no football to build up. He's not even in reserves.
I think it's been really worrying. 3 for me.
I'd have him in the reserves.
I think it's that bad.
There's 2 comments of a 6 and a 4. I'm gonna say 4. I think he's been. I don't think he's been good at all. Bar the a miracle at Everton. I just don't feel he's played well.
I had 6 in mind, but I had that in mind because of the circumstances.
He hasn't been better
being
than
against
average.
him. I'm cutting him some slack because of the circumstances being against him.
I know, but
in terms of actual performance, I'll say 5.
5. So we've got a 3, a 4, and a 5. Paul,
There's some up and down scores there, Rob. I would say 4. I mean, I like Florian Lejeune, but he is a player who does not look fit. He does not look match sharp. He does not look ready. He needs game time. I'd put him in the reserves, play some reserve games, anything, especially arranged games. Get him up to
you still keep him.
yeah.
Yeah,
Still
yeah.
keep. But at the end of the day, he doesn't look anywhere near. He doesn't look fit and ready and fast enough for Premier League football. So 4.
I mean, don't get us wrong. On his day, like you said, Paul, he's a fantastic centre back, but I just think it's been hard for him because of the multiple major injuries that he's had. I'll probably say 3 or even a 4. I'll agree with Lee. Do you want to?
I said 4. I said 4 on
Do you want
mine.
to come down to a 3 so we can move on?
Go on then.
Rob?
Say 4.5 then if he's saying.
Yeah, it's 4.5. Yeah.
Right, we're going to say 4.5 then. Right, we're moving on. Paul Dummett, believe it or not, he's been injured for quite a while now.
Yeah.
He's played 17 games this season. He's the only defender actually not to score a goal.
How dare he?
Because he can't get past the halfway line.
But
when was his last game?
I can't remember. It's been quite a while. I think it was Southampton or Bournemouth. It's that long ago.
Yeah.
But bar the Leicester horror show, Dummett's played really well this season when he's played. He always gets like a 7 out of 10 and we're scoring the players at videos. So for me, I'm going to give him a 7 for the contributions this season. Massive part of the run that went on after the Leicester game. So 7 for me. Same as Manquillo, very steady Eddie. Paul?
Yeah, again, if you're giving Manquillo a 7, I think a 7's a fair score for him. I think we miss him. When he first went out the team, I think we missed him a bit. I really do. He reads the game so well. He slides and tackles. The amount of times he saves us in dangerous positions is fantastic. I like the fact he's given up international football to concentrate on Newcastle as well.
He's not Welsh, is he?
His loyalties lie in the right place. Looking forward to him coming back. Played well when he has been fit. Unlucky about the injury, so yes, I think 7. 7's fair.
I would go along with that 7. Yeah.
7.
Yeah.
Oh well, full house. Even a comment agrees on a 7 as well. So we're going to move to left back, and Paul Dummett could probably play left back in a 4-2-3-1 system that we're currently playing. But we'll go on to the left backs that I've played there. And the first of them is Danny Rose. January signing, only played 6 games for Newcastle so far. Of the 6 games he's played, we've actually had 3 clean sheets. Something to bring up. He showed bits of the amount of quality that he has, but there's also, in my opinion, a severe lack of match fitness there. And there's sometimes where you can question if he's lazy or anything like that. That has been called into question, especially when we played Crystal Palace away from home with that thing on the train. But for me, he is going to get better for sure. But at the moment, I can't give him any more than a 5, to be honest. Lee, I'll come to you first. What do you think of Danny Rose so far?
Where's 40?
He would have 1s and 2s if 40 was 6.
I think he's sluggish. I think a run of games will do him well. I think you're being kind with a 5, even though
really?
I think it's a great signing. I was buzzing for him. I just think it can't tell me he's been average. I think he's been under average for me.
He keeps getting on the wrong side, doesn't he? If you notice, like throw-ins and stuff like that, when he's trying to mark someone,
where's the overlaps? Where's him bombing down that wing, whipping the balls in? There's none of that.
There's a couple of 4s in the comments, mate.
I'll go 4. I think he's been under average is 5. I think he's been under that. But
40 nailed it.
Even if the season still goes on, let's say the season was on, I think he would get better, and I think it'll probably be changed.
I think he is going to get better for sure.
But who knows what's going to happen with the coronavirus and this loan before.
I'd say 4. Rob?
Yeah, it's 4. I can't look beyond that.
Yeah, 4.
We're all in agreement then. We'll move straight on to, which is going to be much higher than a 4. I do promise you that. Jetro Willems, 20 appearances for Newcastle before his season-ending injury against... Who did he get injured against? Chelsea. I
remember him pounding the ground and the stadium shaking.
It was a nasty moment, and he is showing signs of getting better soon. And he's really wanting the same for the 2 next year, and we're all in agreement and loving to see that next season. He's had some amazing moments. The goal against Liverpool, taking the lead.
Yeah, he took my head off, didn't he, Kyle? In Anfield.
I certainly did. The goal against Man City as well, brilliant goal. For me, Jet Williams, bar the Arsenal game where he had a bit of a clanger. Other than that, he's been absolutely brilliant. And I've seen from the first game that I've seen of him in pre-season against St Etienne, I knew he was going to be a fantastic player for Newcastle. I'm going to give him an 8 out of 10. I think he's been absolutely brilliant. Now, can't wait to see him back next season when we're getting back on loan. Rob?
8 out of 10. I think we're really missing him now because
Absolutely.
Rose, he's just not quite up to that level yet. And Willems, we're just missing that quality. Now that he's no longer in that team, we're really noticing that absence.
Yeah. Lee, what do you think, Willems? Are you in agreement?
Yeah, I'll give him an 8. He's had a bit of a dodgy start at Arsenal at home, but
Other than that, yeah.
he doesn't look like a footballer, does he? Because he's quite big, he's quite chunky, but yeah, he's got some muscles in them legs. Like we've obviously seen he's got a rocket with left or right foot, but you would make that deal permanent in a heartbeat.
When he was pounding the floor, though, you'd be sitting there thinking, I feel sorry for that floor because he's a big, intimidating prospect, and you imagine playing against somebody who looks as powerful and as pacey and as direct.
And there was a stat going around that he was the most player that players couldn't get past or something along those lines. He was right up there.
I'm not surprised.
That people couldn't get past and beaten players that had beaten him. I think he was right at the top.
You
of the
need a
Premier
sat nav
League.
to get around the lad. He is built to last.
Sat nav not found.
Yeah.
Rerouting.
But he's been a tremendous signing for the club. Great deal to get him in as they did. We've been after him for like forever, I think, basically.
Since we signed Genie.
Yeah. And I'm desperate to get him back.
I think it got more serious though, didn't it? Because when Aldam Nazem, he's pals with him, and obviously he was pictured with him at the stadium.
Yeah. For me, an 8, absolutely.
Yeah.
All the greens, fantastic. We're moving on to the centre midfielders, but if you want your input as well, you can WhatsApp or you can put in the live chat like many have been in the chat. But if you want to contact us via WhatsApp, you can by 0747 6497 166. If you want to put your comments in via the WhatsApp, and we'll answer them in the show at some point. But I'm going to go on to the midfield now, and the first one is probably going to cause a bit of controversy at some point, and we're going to start with Sean Longstaff, local NA29 lad. I'm obviously going to fight his corner, but it has been a difficult season for him. A lot of doubt are starting to creep in regarding the way he's playing. In particular, he's had 26 games this season with 2 assists and 1 goal, the 1 goal coming against Oxford away from home in the FA Cup. But I'm going to stand up for him because I think there's a couple of performances that he's had this season. I think he's played really well. You look at Tottenham away, him and Hayden in the midfield together were absolutely brilliant. Coming on against Southampton, helping him get the win, he played really well in that game. Or at home against Man United, played really well. There is a couple of games where the Sean Longstaff of last season has been there front and centre. But I'm not going to lie about, there has been a couple of games this season where he has been borderline shocking, to be honest. And on the basis of that, where there's been kind of a balance of how he's played well and how he's played not so well, I'm going to give Sean Longstaff a 6 out of 10.
Too kind, that.
I don't think so. I think in the games he's played well, he showed real heart and determination. But there's games where where it hasn't been his day and he's kind of gave up on it. And I really hope he can turn it around because there is a fantastic player there in Sean. But as John Bruce has commented, saying he's never really been the same since his injury on a consistent basis, and I would agree with that to some extent. But yeah, 6 out of 10. I'll open it out with the floor. Lee, what do you think?
I think he's been average. I'm not worried when he's in the side. I just think that obviously he hit the heights last season. Obviously we were playing well, and I think I've seen the stat where since Christmas or since New Year we would have finished 7th under Rafa. I know he's a local lad, don't get me wrong, we all want to see him do well. I just think he's been average.
I think he's been asked to play too deep.
I think he does look better going forward, but is he better than average this season? If you weigh the pros and cons, for me he's not.
I think he's a number 10, Lee. He's playing as a deep light.
Well, I remember a few years ago I'd done a video outside James's Park and he was banging the goals in, and I said he's the next one to come through, and I was proven right. But yes, he hasn't been playing further forward because he's more in this system. It's not helping him. But I think a 5. I think I've got
Do
a...
you know one of the videos that I've been making a couple of years ago when I was on about Mike Ashley? I might as well. No, but I just think he's been playing too deep, playing not in his position. That hasn't helped him. He's had decent games. He's looked really good when he's been in the final third, taking shots on, finding space, picking passes.
I don't think he's lost that confidence because he's not afraid to hit it.
But he's not a defensive midfielder.
No,
that's the thing. You can't put a round peg in a square hole. I'm sorry. You got to play him in his position before you can really judge him. And I've heard rumours that and murmurings that the issues around Matty is because they're sort of looking at Sean and thinking, can he make that step up from academy player who's done well up into a regular Premier League player, an England international, etc., etc. And that's what's given people at the club nervous switches about Matty. But to me, he has done a job. But when he's been asked to do that other one, he's too deep. He's holding hands with Lascelles and them at centre back, and that can't be right. Like you said, he scored goals, hasn't he? So get him into the right positions and play him. At the end of the day, you wouldn't play Joe Linton in goal, would you? Or maybe you would.
Steve Bruce might. But what's your rating, Paul?
I would say 5. 5 out of 10.
Rob, from his temporary class is permanent, I'll say 5. I'll probably say the same with Joe Linton.
I'm gonna stick with 6. So we'll put it down the middle at 5.5 for Sean Longstaff. Obviously, he can get better, and there is great potential there. But I agree with Paul in saying I think he's played up the field a bit more. And with the 4-2-3-1 formation coming in, it might be an opportunity for him if Miggy picks up a knock or something like that. I mean, touch wood, he doesn't. But
please no.
But on to the next one. Nabil Bentaleb, new signing. Obviously, he's only played 4 or 5 games. Actually, no, 6 games so far. But for me, he looks very average to me. He's not the player that I thought were brought in. He looks very sluggish.
I think he's Danny Rose-esque, yeah.
He looks very sluggish, very slow on the ball. But then again, to counter-argument that, it's a case where he hasn't played for a long time. Schalke kind of left him out in the cold. And I can't give him any more than a 4.
Strange decision, wasn't it? It was signing him. It was left field.
Key's replacement, wasn't it?
Well, more central midfield.
Yeah, to me, if you're giving Rose a 4, it's no more different for Bentaleb. I think he's a 4.
Yeah, I was shocked when he was starting against Oxford at home. Just come straight in, pre-season, and he looked all right. But that's Oxford. His best game is West Brom, without a shadow of a doubt. And the away game.
Some people said in the comments of that video me and Paul did that he did play very well. I disagreed, but
I thought he had a decent game.
That's his best game. I don't think it's.
Yeah, that
I
shot,
would agree.
didn't he?
I think 4. I'd rather have Sean. If we're scoring Sean at 5 on average, 5.5. Sean's ahead of Bentaleb in terms of form at the minute.
He is, and I'd rather have a local lad in the team.
But now Bentaleb's not first choice because of Sheldon Hayden being back. So
yeah,
I would say 4.
I'd say 4 as well.
4 as well.
4.
Yeah.
Okay,
agreement.
So we went with in agreement, Paul. But 4 for Bentaleb straight away. The next one, Isaac Hayden, and this for sure is going to be higher than a 4. For me, it's his best season in a Newcastle shirt. I think he's been absolutely phenomenal. Looks so settled on timetable once again because he sorted out all the personal issues that he had with his little girl and things like that he explained in his interview last year. And you can tell he just looks so much happier. He's putting in tackles. His work rate is second to none. He's played 28 games this season, got the 1 goal in the last minute against Chelsea, which Lee went viral for, and the 1 assist he got as well.
$500,000 or something.
And I think, I mean, a lot.
It goes to prove. Look, if a player's happy at home, it's the same as if you're doing a job. If you're happy at home, you'll be happy in work. And I just need to order a second. That's the second portion of humble pie.
Eating a lot,
there's a lot of humble pie getting served today at Nova. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, he wasn't doing the right stuff before. His head wasn't in the right place. He wasn't saying the right things about Newcastle United. But now, he's one of the first names on the team sheet. Fantastic.
Yeah.
That tackling, the protection, the work rate, and just doing what he can do well. And you go back to some of the players we've had in the past who've not been the best footballers in the world, a la David Batty's, but they know the job that they're in there to do, and they do that job.
I'm sure David Batty gets to mention in
he
this show
does.
every
I
week.
like David Batty, but he can fill in at centre back. He'll do your job there. Right wing back.
Right back.
He's a
right
bit
midfield.
like Aaron Hughes used to be able to fill in just about anywhere. He's another one of those sort of players. I will just shout out and say at this time, obviously he's been through a little bit of an issue this week, and I hope the people, catch up with the low lives who did that. popped out for 10 minutes and had his house done over. That's absolutely terrible. I hope that doesn't affect him again at home, his home life. He's been a great player for Newcastle.
And it happened to Di Maria, didn't he? He was petrified.
Yeah.
So
again, I hope that doesn't have a knock-on effect through the actions of one absolute probably idiot.
Let's be honest. I mean, before going to the rating of Hayden, I'd probably say, I know he's a Newcastle player, so Gareth Southgate won't look as far as he's concerned. We're in Scotland. Anything north of Manchester is Scotland to him. So. If I was Gareth Southgate, I'd be looking at Hayden for the summer. You look at the likes of Eric Dyer and people in that holding midfield role, and I think Hayden's been better than him this season for sure. But Hayden for me, 8 out of 10. He's been very solid. And
8 out of 10.
I'd take it up a notch and say 9.
Really? So we're looking at 8.5, Lee.
Between 8 and 9, yeah. I think he had a bit of a dip because in fact a lot of people did when we were playing too many games. Where's Hayden? He's this bad, but apart from that, the last 12 months has been sensational.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll 8 and 9.
Yeah, that's fantastic. 8.5 out of 10, which I think is really fair on Hayden given how he's played this season. On to the next one, John Joe Shelby.
Ain't nobody.
I think Paul's going to be eating some more pie.
Third order.
When the last game of the season came along last year against Fulham, and he played well in that game, people thought that was kind of his swan song. It was kind of going to be his last game before he went to West Ham, because he was heavily linked and with
West Ham fan,
with everybody thinking Rafa was going to stay at the time, be like bye John Joe. But with Bruce coming in, Shelby is very much liked by Steve Bruce, and Shelby's spoke about how much happier he is in regards to management and things like that. And it shows. 20 games he's played this season, 5 goals, very decent return for a centre midfield, 1 in every 4. But for the most part, I think he's been brilliant this season.
For that Sheffield United goal alone, he'd been the only one who thought, you know what?
He runs away doing this, didn't he?
Yeah, I'm thinking about this, and it's right. When I've criticised him in the past, I've criticised him because I thought his legs were going, and in the system we were playing, it was not getting the best out of him. But he's one of the most technically gifted players we've got at the club. It's just a case of finding the system and getting the legs around him to work to get the most out of him.
Yeah.
5 goals out of 20 games is really, a good return for us.
Dwight Gale's perfect for him.
Yeah.
Because Joe Linton doesn't do them runs. Gale will run all day. And our Gale hasn't scored, but Shelby...
Look at Southampton there with the chances that he created.
Yeah, there you go. Shelby for me, him and Hayden are first choice every day of the week if they're both on form. But in terms of footballing ability, technically we're best player.
Yeah.
If he wasn't injured, I would have scored him a lot higher. But I'll probably score him an 8. I'll probably score that higher if he was fully fit.
Yeah, if he was fully fit, yeah.
Yeah, I'm seeing it.
Yeah.
But he's been absolutely brilliant, and I know he probably won't make the European squad when you look at the likes of
Jordan Henderson's having the game of his life, a season of his life, isn't he?
Yeah, that's probably the one holding midfield that's been better than Hayden this season. That's English, but Shelby's been fantastic. A great creative midfielder. Maybe you're looking for the England squad, probably not. As I did from
not with Southgate.
Southgate doesn't look beyond Manchester, so 8 out of 10, and probably can improve as well with the new formation coming in. But on to the next one, Matty Longstaff. Good breakout season for Matty, and in 12 games this season he's managed to notch 3 goals, 2 of them against Man United, home and away.
Remember Rob?
But he's
oh, that'll come in the YouTube channel later on this week.
Yeah, I got to start wrong.
Oh, you got to start wrong.
Yeah.
You'll see later on.
I hope there's a massive graphic that flashes up on that screen. You've done it. Yeah.
But for me, he's constantly getting competitive, Sean, and I think it's really unfair. I know they're brothers and things like that, but there's 2 different types of midfielders. You've got Sean, that's an attacking midfielder, and then you've got Matty, who's a defensive midfielder. I mean, I've spoken to people who think Matty will be a good number 10, and with his shooting ability, I kind of agree with his energy and things like that. But for me, it's unfortunate that Bentaleb's came in because he's halted the progress of Matty Longstaff, and Matty Longstaff hasn't really had a look in since, unless it's been the FA Cup. So for me, I think Longstaff, when he's played, he's been brilliant. I don't think he's had a bad game. I really don't. I mean, you could probably look at Chelsea away where he got overwhelmed a little bit, but against Jorginho and Conte,
against formations and stuff that he's up against,
I mean,
didn't help.
For a lad that had only played 1 Premier League game at the time, 2 Premier League games, that's understandable.
The B-Tech Longstaff, as he was referred to, who did the Manchester video.
Yeah.
And it was the full-time Devils, was it?
Yeah,
And they come and
know
said,
who he was.
yeah, he was like, who's he?
Well,
Who's he? He's not even the real one.
They know who he is now.
Oh, yeah.
But Matty, for me, I've got to give him a 7. I think when called upon, he's been fantastic. It's just a shame. It would be higher if he was called upon more, because I don't think he'd let you down. I think he's been brilliant.
I remember just before the transfer window opened, we were talking on here saying that we don't want to sign another central midfielder in January because we knew it would halt the progress, and yeah, it's really sad that is what has turned out to be. And so I think Matty really wanted to stay, get that contract sorted.
I think it's the club. Yeah, it's the club playing their
it's a solid
playing a
signing
game.
They've got to sort the contract out, man. It's a no-brainer. Like, for me, what's being played out in the media is a load of lies. To be honest, I don't think anybody is in Matty's ear. I really don't. I just think if you're
there's no way he wants.
Lee, if you're at work and one of your colleagues is never coming into work, he's never contributing towards what you do as a team, and
Andre Savvy
or anything like that, and he's earning double what you make or triple what you make. What are you saying about that? Like, legit, it's like...
Good job, no one at work does that,
It's just setting an example, though.
Where's this fence I can sit on? Where is it? It's Johnny here. Johnny, come on in. There's a fence you need to sit on.
Like, honestly, it's ridiculous. If I was a professional footballer and I was playing in the same team as Jack Colbeck and Henri Saivet, and they were making more than me, I would be insulted as a footballer. I really would. Yeah. Especially if I've done more in...
And then you bring Bentley in. And then you bring Bentley in. Well, what's the point? If you're Matty and you're looking at that first team, you're thinking, why are they bringing in somebody else? And it's the club playing a political game to try and lower his expectations and his wages down.
I think Bentley was brought in because remember Shelby was injured. Hayden was moved around the team. Sean was in and out of form. Matty suffered because of that, but Matty, as we talked about, is very much energetic. He's a complete different player.
Busy bee, isn't he?
Yeah, he likes to get around the pitch, whereas Sean's more reserved. Matty's a runner. Sean isn't. Matty can play. I reckon Matty could play a couple of other positions.
He probably could.
I reckon he could even do a job even at right back if you asked him to do. I think he'll run around there. I think he'll play for the team. He's a Geordie. I like his enthusiasm. He's daft as a brush. His contract does need signing. I think it's a couple of games. No-brainer. A couple of games have passed him by, but that's because of the system we play, quite similar to other midfielders, where you don't see many touches of him, where we're getting out-dominated with possession. You don't see him. But apart from that, he's a Geordie. He wants what here. It's a breakthrough season. Probably play more next season if he stays. I'll go 7. Yeah, I think a 7's a good score for him.
Like, he's settled in the North East. Like, everything is here for him. His brother lives in the North East. His family.
I can't imagine. He's not going to play anywhere else.
He's a local lad with everything here. He doesn't want to leave, and I'm sure in terms if he's asking for anything or his agent's asking for anything, it won't be
It's Charlie all day long. It
Charlie. Seems like the club are politics. Trying to hold the lad to ransom because it's his hometown club.
Yeah.
And like,
well, you're getting rid of Jack Cole back in the summer because he's a free agent anyway. So there's 40 grand saved to put it somewhere else.
Or Henri Saivet, I mean.
Well, he's still got another year or two.
Exactly, and you look at what Saivet and Colbeck have done in the last 3 years at Newcastle. Have done nothing.
Sam loves Henri Saivet. Have a look at Twitter. He absolutely loves him.
I mean, that's an effort not to check out the Twitter, Lee, but no, Sam does a great job on Twitter. Do check out the Twitter. But
he gives Henri a mention every week.
I think we've got a bit sidetracked with the contract situation with Matty. What do you think his rating is for the season? I've said 7.
I've said 7. Yeah, 7.
Right, so all agreed on 7. Fair enough. Key is gone, but he's played 4 or 5 games this season, so we'll give him a quick rating.
Matty was the replacement for him, really, because Key played the first few games of the season. Matty didn't come into the frame until around October.
He played, did he? Oh, I didn't see him. He was on the pitch.
1.
Yeah, it can't.
1.
Yeah, awful. I mean, if Kay gets the worst rating, like, I'm very surprised. But
I won't.
1.5.
He won't. I'm telling you now, he's going to get the worst rating.
It's an interesting one. But before we move on to the wingers, I'm going to have a short break. So we'll go on to the wingers and then the strikers, and then if we've got 10, we'll go on to the loan watch and things like that. But with how much we've went in depth on this, I don't know if we will. So who knows? But we'll have a quick break.
Lots of debate,
and then speak to you in a couple of minutes, everyone.
We are back.
And we are back on the Black and White Show. I'm your host Kyle, joined by Paul, Lee and Rob, and we've been going through the player ratings for the entire season, summing up every player and giving like a little in-depth review on all of them. This has taken so long, in fact. I had a plan for part 4 where I was going to talk about the loan watch and the other players, but this has been so in-depth, and Paul's good at giving 20-minute memos on each and every Newcastle United player that it's stretched over, so it means next week we can cover the loan watch if you would like to see that. But we'll go straight into the wingers, and the first one I've got in my notes is Valentino Lazaro, the new lad from Austria, were loaned from Inter Milan. He's played right back in a couple of games, but we know he's a winger by trade, really, and so that's why I've put him under wingers and not under right back, because we spent long enough on wing backs as it is, and anyway. But when he's played further forward, especially against West Brom, he showed real talent going forward, getting in behind, showing real experience. Really good player. I'm not sure if he's worth the 20 million that we could be paying for him, but 5 games he's played and 1 goal so far, obviously against West Brom. But so far, I think he looks decent. He looks a solid player, and if he does improve and start scoring in the Premier League, I would probably give him that gift in at the 20 million to sign him. But they'll open the floor. What do you think? How much do you think? No. What do you think of Valentino so far?
It's a toughie, this one, isn't it? Yes, it was better against West Brom. I thought it was attacking sense. It made sense to bring him on against Southampton because Mankier wasn't doing it for me, and that gave him a lot more freedom, which is great. He's not doesn't look like a wing back. I think if you judge him now, it's tough. I think you've got to score him around average marks. But if the season was to if we did have the season that is to play out, I think I would probably get a little bit higher. But I have to say, he's been okay. He's been average. The red card didn't help him being suspended, but I can understand why he holds down to Hearts last minute. You're worried. I've got to score him a 5, I think.
I think 5.
But I think there is potential there. There is promise. We just haven't seen enough of him.
We'll be talking about him in a couple of weeks' time when the season does come to an end. Where he's got
what I hope is that his competition for Almira and announce it maximum. We might not get ahead of them, but that's what I hope he plays further forward. Well, you'd rather have him than Paul's best mate on the bench, who we'll talk about shortly. So you want Lazaro coming up?
I'll have my gran on the bench.
But yeah, 5 for me.
5.
I'd say 6.
A 6. I mean,
it's decent.
That game against Arsenal.
I mean, yeah, that was a shocker, and getting sent off the following weekend would not have helped. But other than that, I think West Brom, he was pretty good in that game, and also his debut against Norwich. Was it Norwich's debut?
Yeah, he came on as a sub. Yeah, fair enough. So we're meeting in the middle of 5 and 6, 5.5. I think that's fair. There's more to come from him, which is very clear. But 5.5, I suppose. I'm not going to argue. It's not a hill to die on, is it? Next up, I've got Matt Ritchie, and obviously he spent the vast majority of the season out injured. He had a couple of games at the start of the season, was a massive part of the first win of the season against Tottenham away from home. But ever since coming back in the away game against Rochdale, I think he's kind of just been what Matt Ritchie brings to the table. Very solid, constant work rate, and he's even been in nosebleed territory and being played further forward in his actual position as of late as well. Bar the Southampton game, where I thought he was very, very poor, even by Matt Ritchie's standards, very poor. I'm going to give Ritchie, because I think there's more to see from him as well, 5 out of 10 for Matt Ritchie. But it's fantastic to see him back.
Oh yeah, without doubt. I think this is the only time that he's been injured whilst he's been a Newcastle player, isn't it? He's been suspended for the odd game here and there, but an injury like that from Chowdhury, it was a horror tackle. And
cowardly.
I really do feel sorry for him because the circumstances, like Lejeune, they've not been kind to him. But when he's been in the team, he's not set the world alight. But I'd still say 6.
Actually, I'm going to say 6 as well. I think 5's harsh. I think with how much more he's contributed to the team this season than Lazaro has. I know Lazaro needs time to obviously do more, but
he's a great leader as well.
Yeah, fantastic leader. And we missed him when he wasn't playing, so I'm going to say 6 out of 10.
Matty hates him slapping him.
Matty must hate Ritchie. He must hate him because every time he scores, he must run for the dressing room or something and hide.
I'll tell you somebody who does hate him.
Who?
That lad with the corner flag.
I was about to say, yeah.
No, you know what you get with Matt Ritchie. He huffs, he puffs. He doesn't really blow the house down. He's missed the penalty, but when he's in, I've never seen somebody look like so possessed to win. His determination and his expectations and his standards of what he expects of people around him is fantastic. And if you're not doing it, he will drag you straight up. So I would say 6 out of 10.
Yeah, you need that in the team. 6 out of 10 is more than fair. Lee, do you want to close the set and make it 6, or are you going to...
I think it's 5. As much as I like Richard, I think it's the right decision. Extend his contract.
Yeah,
He's been average for me.
as well.
I think before he got injured, we weren't playing well anyway. We won against Spurs, which is good. But apart from that, since he's coming back, he's played left wing back. He's played in the right side of midfield, left.
That's where he started, wasn't it?
He was. I just think there's more to come from this season, assuming the season goes ahead. Happy that he's back. I'd rather have him in the side, or at least the worst case scenario on the bench. But I just think he's been average.
You need to say something nice as well, because you think about it, if you bump into him, you wouldn't want to be on his wrong side, would you?
Well, he would have desperately wanted to
put
score.
your hat where the sun don't shine.
He would have desperately wanted to score last weekend against Southampton because he's a Pompey boy and he's from Gosport, which is next door to Southampton. So he got a bit of stick while I was down there. So a bit of a shame, but yeah, I think he's been average, me. But
good penalty though. It was just well saved.
it wasn't. Yeah. It wasn't. Yeah, that's the thing. People think it was a penalty missed. It wasn't.
No,
it was a penalty
saved.
saved. Difference. But yeah, I think there is things to come with him. But later on that season, I'll probably score that higher because I know he'll perform.
So 5.5 out of 10, I think that's fairly decent. I think he's done better than Lazaro, as he's had more time to do to contribute. But yeah, 5 out of 5 again. Not a.
When was the last time you said Richie had a good game? Like a really good game. You can't, can you? Because he needs to hit that consistency form.
He never has a bad game.
Yeah,
well,
exactly.
Well,
game,
when
never
he's in
great.
a patch of form, he doesn't not have a good game. Just building up to that.
Yeah,
match
doesn't hide, does he? Never hides. Always
and
is
when
there.
he plays bad, he always fronts to it, and he always says, "Look, he's the type of player that can take it on the chin, no problem." There's some people where might crumble under pressure, but Richie's certainly not that player for me. But on to the next one, which might take the rest of the show. I'm going to look to get through these a little bit quicker now because we've got 10 minutes left of the show. But Christian Atsu's the next one. 23 games, 5 assists. He had an okay start of the season, but he had his December month in September. And ever since September, he's been absolutely abysmal.
It's his end product that's the big problem here.
Yeah, I agree.
He's good at getting into the right positions. He's good at taking the ball forward. Other than that, I can't say any more than what he's good at. It's his end product, and that's what you really need to like.
I like in the comments, we've got somebody who says, "Go easy on Atsu, lovely lad, aimless but lovely." Yeah, and he might be a lovely lad, and he might
be a lovely lad.
And he might be building schools in Africa and all these fantastic things out of football. Outside of football, I'm sure he's a great lad. Yeah,
these marks are not based on how nice they are.
Exactly.
Yeah.
On the pitch, he's the pure definition to me of it's just a waste of a squad place. You're a midfielder who can't really pass, you don't really score, you can't tackle. What do you run round? Sometimes when I've seen him play, it looks like he's walking his dog around the park, and it's not enough for me.
That's just a boredom.
He's just not good enough. 0 out of 10, none.
No, I disagree.
Vitality.
With that. 5. He's got.
You know that dog that goes on the stadium.
Yeah.
Vitality. That's too.
He's got 5 assists in 23 games. So he has.
I just don't see
something.
anything.
He set up a Jordan goal this season in the league. No one else.
Yeah,
has done that.
that game against Spurs when he come back, I said to you, he should be sent for testing immediately after that game because it was out of character. But apart from that one game, I mean, is 1 the lowest we can give him? Because whatever the lowest is, lads, that's where I'm starting at and that's where I'm staying. So that's pretty easy for me.
I'm going to say 3, so that would knock it to 2.
4.
4?
4, my word.
4? Rob,
Some of the scores that you've given.
It's generous.
We've got 8 minutes. We've got 7 minutes left, man.
I'll say 3.
So Paul saying some of the scores I've
come
given.
on, we've got some big guns to get through.
2, right? We'll stick with 2. Why not?
Go on then.
Right, next one is Miggy Armour on 6 goals and 1 assist, all since the 21st of December when he scored against Palace. He's been a fantastic player all season. He's contributed heavily to the team. Loads of work rate. For me, 9 out of 10. Miggy?
9 at the very most. Can't see it beyond that.
Nah, he's been so important to this team. 9 out of 10. Lee?
I wouldn't go 9. I don't think he's been breathtaking, but
I
he
think
works
he has.
hard. I think 8 is probably more a fair reflection to what he's been doing. So 8 out of 10 for
9.
Miggy.
It's 9. Everything that we do, good attacking wise, used to go through him. He wins free kicks, he scores goals, he creates goals, he's running at people, he finds the space. To me, nobody else has been near him apart from maybe ASM, so 9 out of 10.
Right, so we're looking at 8.5 out of 10 for Miggy Almiron. I wish I had more time to speak about how great he's been this season, because honestly, he's been fantastic. Even when he wasn't scoring goals, I never gave up on that lad, and it's good to see being rewarded with like that, with the work rate and everything, to go with the goals and
Steve
assists.
Bruce signed his mate up.
I signed his mate. Actually, no, he can't. Major injury for him.
Injured, isn't he?
But on to the next one,
Shame.
which is ASM. And out of all the teams to make signings this summer, I think we made the best one in ASM.
Yeah.
I think we also made the worst one, don't get us wrong, but we made the best one in Alan St Maximin. 21 appearances this season, and he's just been fantastic this season all round.
Our record with him compared to our record without him speaks volumes.
Yeah, it is. I think it's 9 wins out of 18 in games he started, and only 2 out of 16 in games that he hasn't. So it's an amazing record.
Different gravy.
Yeah, my darling, you were the headband. You were
Gucci, baby.
As soon as Lee put that picture on, I just smiled. I was just beaming, looking at it.
Yeah.
He just makes you smile and makes you happy. As a Newcastle fan, you'd love to see him on the ball. What can he do? What crazy things are he going to do next?
We love him. He loves retweeting us. He loves quoting us. He likes replying to us. He's a fan's favourite. Excites you. Gets you from A to B. Yeah, he's got to score 9.
Yeah,
for me.
9.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
Warner
easiest.
brings 9.
Yeah.
There's a comment as well. Mason Ferrier saying 9 out of 10 as well.
Our best signing this season.
Yeah, absolutely. On to the next one, which is Dwight Gale. 13 appearances, 1 assist. Now, don't get us wrong, he's looked the part in bits, but the amount of chances he's fluffed, there's like 6 or 7 chances. He could be our top goal scorer. Even though he's been a bit part player, he could still be our top goal scorer this season. For that reason alone, 4 out of 10.
Yeah.
I'd say 5. I think 5. I think he's starting to perform better than Joe Linton up top now.
He's getting in them places, which we
Yeah,
need to be.
but I think he'll score more often than what Joe Linton wouldn't, so I'll say 5. And sorry, Ishai, he's not scoring high, yeah.
It's 4 for me.
Yeah, I'd agree with Rob.
Okay, so we're saying 4.5, yeah?
And end product is concerning.
Right, okay, 4.5 for Gale.
I think Joe Linton's is.
On to Mudu now.
Oh, goodness me.
We'll just give a quick rate on this one, because he hasn't...
If you've seen this lad, please call us. 'Cause I'm worried about him, I really am.
He might have the virus.
2.
Yeah, he might.
2 out of 10 for Mudu. Hasn't been good enough. They're kind of getting the team.
2.
Shame, but yeah, I'd offload him in the summer.
Yeah, I'd put him in the same bracket that
On
Neely's
to the
at
next
too.
one, because obviously Jordan's coming up. So Carroll is the next one. 14 games, 4 assists. Been massively injury plagued. Been a massive problem in that regard. But when he has played, he's probably been our best centre forward. But
Probably
it's
our
getting
best
him-
defender
it's-
corners
it's
as well.
It's getting him to play though. That's the problem. I'm going to say 5 out of 10.
I'll say 6 because he's come up with a few assists as well.
He's got less than Atsu, but Atsu got 2. But go on.
I'll say 6 as well, because he's an impact and he just changed the flow of the game from the bench. And I think even though he hasn't scored, him signing a 1-year contract extension, I'm in for. I would do that.
I've said all along we need major surgery up top.
I wouldn't have him as your first or second though.
I would have rid of everybody, probably bar
So
Joe Linton.
we're
money
looking at
we spent.
5.5 for Carroll, which is fair enough.
Yeah.
And on to the last one, which is saving the best till last. It is a term I wish I could use with this lad, but unfortunately not. Joe Linton, 34 games, 3 goals, 4 assists, and the majority of that is against lower league opposition.
Can I take the floor with this one?
Please do, but you've got 3 minutes.
We talked about being served humble pie. We talked about Sean Longstaff. There's a player in there. We talked about Almiron before he got that first goal. I believe that the time will come for Joe Linton eventually. And when he signed for us, I had the feeling that he was going to have a bit of a season like what he's doing now. And I know it's a long time. I know it's a really frustratingly long time. But he needed this season just to try and find the ropes. I hope we keep him in the summer.
They threw him in the deep end.
We can't sell him because he has no sell-on value.
But we need to keep him, and I think he will become good next season. It's just he needed this season to have the ropes shown to him.
Yeah,
on to
agree.
ratings, I would say 3.
4, I'd say.
4 because I think he's played out of position. He's not a number 9. He's an inside forward.
2. He was brought in to score goals. He hasn't done
So
that.
the middle man in that is 3, which is, I think it's fair. There's no doubt there is a good player in there. but he wasn't. He's not fit for purpose. We brought him in to be a number 9, and he's not a number 9.
Now throw one in.
He's not a centre forward.
That's the club's fault, though. Not the lad's fault.
That's recruitment's fault.
Yeah.
They spend 40 million on one player and 12.5, whatever.
And whoever given that number 9 shirt should be fired from the club instantly because should have been given it.
Whoever scouted him and thought it was a good idea to sign him as a centre forward needs strung up.
Thrown in the deep end when he needed Rondon to stay and learn his trade.
The fact that we persisted with Jordan and not signed Rondon, who did everything that we needed for a centre forward.
Yeah, we signed Andy Carroll, who was older than him.
It's just a joke. It's just.
What do you give Steve Bruce?
Steve Bruce, quickly, I'll give him a 7 because he's done well in the FA Cup. We're fairly safe from the bottom 3 at this point, which is much more than any of us expected, even though there's been players that have stood up and been the reason for that. I'd give him a 7.
I'll say 7 as well.
7 as well.
I'd say 6, but I prefer them in dinner ladies.
I'll say 7. I think he's done a good job so far.
Yeah, good. I think good 6.
FA Cup quarter final.
We've got through the squad and the manager, which would have ended part 3, and there's a whole entire part left in my notes. But we've stretched it out that well, and we've been able to talk that in depth about the team and everything like that. It's came to the end of the show, and as always, even though I had my doubts over the coronavirus and things like that, it's actually been a really good show, being able to talk through and dissect the entire season of everyone. Even then, I wanted top 3 goals and top 3 in every department, but I haven't been able to get through that. But it's been a fantastic show. As always, Paul, it's always an honour. Rob, Lee, it's always fantastic. So next week on the channel, we've got a couple of things coming up, so stay tuned for that. But I've been your host, Kyle Thompson, and catch us in a bit, everyone. See you later.
When I walk into the kitchen, you saw the look on my face. You saw the look on my heart to get out of this place. I seen something I've never seen before. When you put on the pineapple, we couldn't be friends anymore. Pineapple thousand, go on pizza.